Good evening, everyone. Russell, I just remembered that we hadn't said who's going to do what. So I'm just going to take the lead and
Kia ora, Sarah. Kia ora, Conrad. You take the lead, Sarah. I'm happy to take a back seat, as always.
And I don't like taking the lead. So, right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but I am on the North Shore of Auckland and it is a bit miserable this evening. So I'm not too sure what the weather's like at your place, but I hope it's better than what it is at my place, that's for sure. So I don't mind sitting back this evening to enjoy a wee gin with all of us. And it's my pleasure tonight to introduce to you Conrad from Kakapo Distillery, who is joining us to take us through his very special gin, because it's hot off the press. We don't get any fresher than this one, that's for sure. So that's pretty exciting. So before I hand over to Conrad to take us through a tasting, I'm just going to make sure that you are all equipped with what you need. So here's what you need. You need your tasting notes with the little page for you guys to fill in the details. So you've got all of your information here. You, of course, need your bottle of gin. Oh, Russell's ready. That's good. Russell's actually still looks full. That's amazing, I'd have to say. And you need a wee tasting glass. I've already put my little, I thought I'd let it air. So I put a little bit in my glass and a mixer of your choice. In the box, we put Kinafina, which is a New Zealand tonic. So that's what I'm going to be sampling with tonight. But prior to us going live, Conrad also said about soda. So I've rushed off and got myself a bottle of soda water as well. So I'm going to probably sample both of them. So I think we're good to go. We are all ready, all prepared. Everybody's got their things. Let us know that you're here. And let's turn it over to Conrad. Conrad, welcome. So good for you to join us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I have to say we're very excited to have you, aren't we, Russell?
Delighted. First. We love First. New Zealand's newest distillery. How fantastic is that?
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Anne's already saying she's looking forward to this tasting. Yeah. And someone else who remains nameless is saying, so pleased to be opening the world to gin lovers to Conrad's beauty. Maybe that's our colleague Nikki. So absolutely. She's already had a sip of it too, I'm fairly certain. So she knows what's in store for you all this evening. So Conrad, perhaps just before we jump into our tasting and while people are jumping online still, perhaps just take us through what got you into gin distilling.
Yeah, right. So I studied art at university, and I went into doing some interesting stuff with distilling essential oils. And through doing that and using native botanicals and playing around with that, I started getting interested in all the flavors and all that. And so then basically it just was a clean progression to distilling gin, because who doesn't love gin, obviously. Ex-bartender, so firm believer that gin is the best spirit because best cocktails. So yeah, that was a pretty much just clean line through for me. And then started in lockdown of last year, playing around with some recipes, playing around with some flavors, and talking with friends of mine that are in the industry, and they've tasted some of my mixes and they loved them. So I basically just said, you need to start making this professionally, and I thought, why not?
What have I got to lose,
right? How it went.
Yeah. Well, that is absolutely fabulous. And, you know, it's so funny how it seems like at the moment we're actually seeing quite a few gin distilleries come out of lockdown. So people had this time to do the things they loved. And now we get to sample the beautiful creations that they've all made over lockdown. So it's fabulous. Okay, I can see a few people jumping online. Kia ora, Cordula. Nice to have you with us. Or Cordula says I'll bring up her comment. She says she's sitting outside tonight, so it must be way better weather than what it is in Auckland. She needs the mozzie repellent as well. Hey, fun fact, Cordula. Darren, my husband, was saying that quinine that's in tonic is also a really good mosquito repellent. So he reckons he's got this theory that when he drinks gin and we sit outside, he doesn't get bitten. It's only when he drinks beer and we sit outside that he gets bitten. So there you go. That's a good reason to have a G&T when you're sitting outside, right? Or a gin and actually, no, you have to have the tonic, don't you? You'd have to have a drop of quinine in your soda, otherwise that wouldn't work. All right, so let's crack into this tasting, shall we? Conrad, do you want to talk us through this wonderful drop? How did you come to create this?
Yeah, so I mean, this when we started distilling, we wanted to be all about New Zealand botanicals at the forefront of our gins. So this is our first one, and we wanted it to be a gin that you can use with anything, whatever you want, whatever your favorite sort of cocktail mixer, anything like that. We wanted a gin that would work with that. And so we went straight to Manuka honey, because who doesn't love honey? Bit of sweetness, but a nice palate feel for anyone that doesn't like a good hard spirit. And that's basically where that came from. And then we paired it with something just a bit lighter, like elderflower, just to really up the floral notes. And yeah, that was pretty much how we came to that. But so you'll notice that you get some good floral notes on the nose, strong juniper.
Am I picking up a little bit of perhaps lemon or citrus in there as well?
Yep, there's definitely a light. So we use lime peel in our gin.
Oh wow!
And a little bit of lemon myrtle as well, which adds a bit of a lemony note to it without being too heavy on the oils.
Yeah, wow, delicious. It's got a beautiful smooth nose as well. And look, Conrad's already leading us the way. You can go ahead and sample, everybody. What else did other people pick up on the nose? Citrus on the nose as well from Facebook user who is yet to be named. Oh, okay. So what's coming through that I can taste straight away when I sample this, Conrad? Oh, Anne says that lemon myrtle is a natural insect repellent as well. This is a double winner. If you have this with tonic, you are sure to be fine in summer.
There you go.
Great.
Perfect summer drink.
Yeah. So what am I getting right on that? I think it's at the back of my tongue actually that I'm getting.
The back of your tongue, you'll be getting the honey. That'll be coating the back of your tongue. So it's just kind of a really nice smoothness that coats the tongue and really makes it a really lovely mouthfeel in that gin. So we use a very small amount of honey.
That is so interesting what Cordula's just said. Possibly honeysuckle more than honey. I totally agree. She's saying it on the nose, but actually even on the back of my palate, it's quite honeysuckle.
Combination.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's creating that sensation.
Who else is it? Very nice.
Thank you.
And somebody's saying, oh, hang on, I can definitely taste the honey, but also I love the smell of elderflower. Well, you have got a better sense of smell because I can't discern what the elderflower is in the smell of it. But whoever's saying this can definitely taste the honey. Absolutely. Can definitely taste the honey. And so what else are we doing?
As soon as you add something like a light tonic or soda or ice even, it changes the notes, the smells that come through are more in the herbaceous, like manuka smell that comes through really nicely. As soon as you start adding stuff, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's really lovely. So smooth must be the honey. Gosh, I'm just reading the comments and not putting them up. Sorry. So honey, absolutely. But it's not just the honey that's keeping it smooth, is it, Conrad? Like, to me, this is a very well balanced gin as well.
That's definitely something we were going to. So like we spent ages just refining the recipe and really working it to just get to where we are now, just to make it so smooth and so nice to drink. And that's just time, I guess.
And so talk us through a little bit of your distillation process, Conrad. Are you is it a maceration? Is it steam, vapor?
So we do a light maceration. So it's a sort of 8 to 10 hour maceration, which is nowhere near as long as most distilleries that macerate. We'll do a sort of 24 or even 48 hour. So we do a light one, and then we distill the botanicals within the gin. So we do a pot distill in a small limbic pot, and we only distill 40 liters at a time. So it's a very small run, and we're right at the bottom end of the macro scale for distilleries. So yeah, very limited bottle numbers, but that just means that we can keep just playing with the recipe a little bit and just refining it more and more.
Yeah.
Small is good though, Conrad, right?
Oh, exactly. It means we can be really finesse about it. And if we don't like it, scrap it, move on.
Yeah.
Cordula is saying, now the honey is coming through smooth and strong on the palate, but elderflower up the front. I must admit, I think I'm honey biased because I have honey every morning in my lemon. I have a lemon and honey drink every morning. So I think my palate's just really attuned to it because I'm just like grabbing onto it. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So did you add something to it, Conrad? Did you add a mixer?
I haven't yet, but I will be adding just a light Mediterranean tonic is what I think goes really well with this. It brings out the honey really nicely. It allows you to just be a bit more gin forward.
Oh, yeah. Well, just says elderflower and honey are a combination that reminds me of European winters. We used to have homemade elderberry syrup and honey in winter coming in from the snow. This is like the inverse for summer. Love it. Oh, that's really cool. Very cool indeed. All right. So I'm gonna pair it with my quina fina. I think that's how you say it. Mediterranean. Every time I go to do something with my hands, somebody makes a comment. Yay, Mediterranean, my favorite. Oh, I know who said that. Absolutely.
Mediterranean is great. Just really mellow.
Yeah. Whoever the fans' friends are that recommended you bring this gin to the market were onto it. Absolutely. Aren't we forever thankful to them?
Now, Conrad, did you use friends and family as your chief tasters as you were perfecting the recipe?
Some friends and family. So my partner's mother and father are very avid drinkers, gin drinkers. So they were definitely on the cards for tasting. And then we are good mates with the owner of Caretaker up here in Auckland. And so Ali there, he tasted it and was really on board. So that was great. Great person to know in the industry.
And I believe your mum, she's not the biggest fan of tonic in the world. Is that right?
No, yeah, we talked about that earlier. So my mother has always been don't like gin, hates gin, or always just on the hard spirits or whatever, you know. And then we worked out that actually what she doesn't like is tonic. So she doesn't like the quinine, and so we got her to taste gin just straight, and loved it. Was sipping away at it and has since downed a bottle or two by herself.
Yeah.
And so has this got her seal of approval then?
Yep, definitely. Yep. So from a non-gin drinker, it's definitely one that she was very happy to have.
Oh, that is really good. Okay, what's everyone pairing it with? Conrad's got it with Mediterranean. I've tried it with our quina fina, which I must say, as a tonic goes, it's probably one of the ones that I prefer the most because it's not very sweet. And as you know, I don't like the syrupiness of tonics. So I'm finding this one quite nice. It's quite earthy as well for my palate anyway. So I'm not too sure whether other people are finding that. I've just paired it with a little couple of little slices of lemon as well. And you're right, the herbaceous notes are really coming through a lot stronger, Conrad, than like all of that honey that I was really tasting before has dropped away. And now I'm getting, in fact, actually, it's enhanced out some of the juniper as well. I'm getting a lot more of that coming through too.
Definitely, yeah. No, it definitely pulls the juniper out and just makes it a really easy drink, I find. I'm a firm believer in a heavy juniper on a gin.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to know that you're drinking gin, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What's everybody else pairing it with? Oh, Cordula's got it with Mediterranean by the look of it. She thinks that that's pretty awesome by the look of that. 3 thumbs up from Cordula. Now I'm wishing I'd tried it with Mediterranean. I think I did sample it with Mediterranean when we were doing the pairings. Oh, here we go. Michelle says, yep, Mediterranean for me too. Love it. It makes this gin just yum. That's excellent.
Great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And who's noticed what's changed in the gin now that they've paired it with a tonic? What's changing in the flavour profile? Conrad mentioned that you get more herbaceous notes coming out. Is that what you're experiencing? Cordula says, I want to sit on a beach watching a beautiful sunset. Oh, I can so imagine.
Me too.
Doesn't it?
Don't we all? Well, certainly all of us in Auckland, a lot more so.
Very drizzly outside here.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to sit on a beach tonight in Auckland.
And Conrad, the name Kakapo, what's your special connection? How did you land on your brand?
So we definitely touch about that. So Kakapo came when I started, distilling, and I was decided to go commercial and make a brand of it. And I was using all these native botanicals, and we wanted a way to give back to the native environment that we were taking these botanicals from. So we decided to donate. So we'll be donating 10% of all of our profits will go to the Kakapo Recovery Foundation. So we'll be giving back to them throughout our entire business, and obviously through brand recognition as well, at getting the name out there. And we have it posted all over our website about Kakapo Recovery, and just trying to help them really in any way that we can.
What a great idea.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to find the Facebook page coming up to make sure it's all. See, what I can do this cunning little thing. If I can get on Facebook at the same time, all of you people that are just coming up as Facebook user, I can actually see who you are. So I like to be able to do the same thing at the same time. It's just not showing up for me very easily. Here we go.
This is very easy to drink, this gin, isn't it?
It's a bit dangerous, I found.
Dangerous. Be warned, everyone. It's dangerously easy to drink.
Yeah,
so
now
what would you pair it with? Mediterranean tonic, and then would you garnish it with anything, Conrad?
Just a lemon peel is great. Lime, if it's in season, obviously. When they're not in season, they're ridiculously expensive, so it's not necessary. But a citrus just really helps to smooth out that the honey and make it a bit more mellow. But garnishes, I mean, I always find a garnish is based on the drink rather than the spirit.
Oh, tell me more about that statement.
Well, I always find that, I'm not much of a just straight gin and tonic person. As ex-bartender, I like to make cocktails. So, a Negroni obviously has to be with an orange peel, and bee's knees with lemon and so on.
Yeah.
Bee's knees with this gin is amazing because it just brings out that honey and that sweetness as well.
Oh, of course it would too. But you'd have to
forgive my ignorance, but what goes into the bee's knees?
Of course. So bee's knees is just gin, honey, and citrus. So gin, honey, and lemon juice, and then just if it's if you want it a bit longer, you top it off with a little bit of soda. But it's beautiful as a short drink, shaken.
Oh, hang on. Cordula's saying, tell me more about cocktails. Any secret martini recipes? Oh, you crack me up, Cordula. Cordula is our resident martini expert.
I'm not much of a martini guy myself. You'll have to be able to come up with one for me and then send it through.
I actually think though, Cordula, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this would make a lovely martini because it's such a super smooth gin on its own. So I think, you know how sometimes you get a martini with like some of the really rough gin and it's like, oh, when you're trying to drink it, it's a bit rough. But yeah, I think this would make a beautiful martini. Oh, look, you've got them onto cocktails now. It's all over from here. What is your perfect Kakapo-based cocktail?
Ooh, that's a toughie. I do love a gimlet. So that's just your simple syrup, lime juice, and gin. It's beautiful. It's nice and sharp, citrusy, and it just like really, it's all about the citrus and the gin. It just tastes great.
Somebody's saying they like the sound of the bee's knees. Now, you'd have to use Manuka honey, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Goes without saying. And do you find, I suppose you haven't really sort of found it yet, but do you, well, no, you've probably done a year, haven't you, of distilling. Do you find that there's a seasonal variation with things like the Manuka?
Not too heavily. So we harvest our Manuka off of our family property. And so we harvest it and dry it ourselves. So we use dried Manuka and it works great.
Oh, wow. And what about the honey? Do you get the honey from there too?
No, unfortunately. So our honey actually comes from so our honey comes from over on Great Barrier Island, which is an organic raw honey made over there. It's beautiful, so smooth.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, Cordula's reporting back. Martini connoisseur, not expert, and yes, challenge accepted. Oh, I look forward to that one then.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a Negroni than a martini person if we're going for a straight spirit cocktail.
I must admit, I have not. Sorry, what did you say, Russell?
Sorry, Sarah, you go.
I was just about to say I haven't quite got into the Negronis yet. It was a big leap for me to go to martini, I must say. Most of our members know I'm a French 75 girl. So, but I have to say I've had to take a little hiatus off the French 75 because I had a little moment with them a few months back and I still haven't recovered from it. Right at the beginning of lockdown, it was a bit messy. Anyway, we'll move on. What has been the greatest challenges as a startup distillery? Oh, how long have you got?
Starting a distillery it's something. There is hurdles upon hurdles that we just never expected. And, being a year down the track and still not even being in market yet. Admittedly, we spent a lot of that time just developing, but the biggest hurdles are definitely the Auckland Council and licensing was really that's what has halted us the most. But in terms of the rest of it, it's been pretty smooth sailing for us. We've managed to get a really great team of myself, my partner, and my brother. So small family business where all of us just have expertise in the different areas that really meant that we could fly right through. One being a lawyer, one being an engineer, and myself being a graphic designer, artist, and distiller. Managed to tick all the boxes ourselves, which has been the most beneficial for us.
Yeah.
Did you make those boxes? Did you just say?
Yeah, so all the marketing is done by me. So
Oh.
the logo design, the bottle design, the whole lot.
Beautiful. You've done a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Oh.
And Conrad, in terms of where people go to buy this gin, Suggestion's got lots of stock, Sarah, right? So is that an exclusive for Suggestion at the moment?
100% exclusive for you guys at the moment. So this is the only place that people can buy it. Nobody else knows about it yet. On our Facebook and website and everything, we're still not launched. So this is definitely, if you want to get in quick with these guys. And
wonderful.
Once we launch, we don't know how much stock will last us. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, if the initial feedback is anything to go by, that's going to move really quickly, I would imagine.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, I've just had topped up with some soda. I'm really liking that. Really liking that. That there's nothing to hide there in it with soda.
That's what we found. Is a lot of people, when they're drinking gin straight, they struggle with the alcohol content. That's what they struggle with. Like when you taste that, you gotta fight with the ethanol. Whereas you add soda, you're just getting all of the flavors and nothing else.
Yeah, I love that. For those of you who aren't drinking it with soda, kind of think of how it tasted as you were sampling it straight, and then make it a little bit longer, and you've got what I'm just drinking with soda. It's lovely. Yeah, really lovely. I'm still getting all those beautiful flavors coming through. I think perhaps the honey softened just a little bit off with the soda, but other than that, I'm still getting. I haven't gone quite so herbaceous. In fact, I think probably that elderflower has come through a bit more. It's a bit more floral and a little softer. That's really lovely. Yeah. Okay. Anne says, oh, yes, you're right. You just tried it with soda. Yum. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Cordula says, gosh, Cordula, you have this problem every time, don't you? Well, mine's evaporated. I better get a bottle if I want to make that martini. Yes, Cordula, we really need you to report back on that. Did you reach out to others in the industry for help in your startup? How connected are you to the other new distilleries?
Yeah, not as much as we should have, I guess. We kind of just started and we were like, we can do this. It's easy. What's the problem? It's going to be fun. And then we kind of, as we were going through, we talked to more people, and we got involved with the Distilled Spirits Aotearoa, which was a great connection for us. Managed to talk to a lot of people through there and find people that were able to help us. So we definitely did connect with a few people. Soren from 1919, he was a great help. Just chatting away to him even is just awesome. He's got such an insight into the industry, so definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely not as much as we should have.
But you definitely, from having conversations with you beforehand as well, you definitely focus more on sort of the end user, didn't you? And with your connection and with the bar industry and that sort of thing, thinking about, what the end user would enjoy. Yeah.
Definitely. That was our main goal, was to make something for the customer. That's what we're here for. So, and I mean, being such a tiny distillery, we don't have the capacity to churn out enough to make ends meet selling to lots and lots of distributors. So that wasn't really where we wanted to be. So we wanted to go straight to bars, straight to customers, and that's why we made it this way.
So will that be the
Conrad,
Oh, sorry, Russell. I've just talked over you so many times. Your turn, Russell.
That's okay. So last week we learned about, I think, was it the head, the heart, and the tail?
Yes.
Of the gin coming off the still, and sampling, the art of actually identifying, what you're going to keep and what you're going to remove. How have you found that process? And
yeah, it's definitely an artwork, and definitely takes some testing. So that was definitely in our trial period. We had mason jar after mason jar lined up, seeing what comes out when. and measuring percentages and all of those changes to make sure that we were getting exactly the flavors that we wanted. So we make we make a very small cut at the start, because we use a lovely ethanol from 1919. Actually, Siren provides our raw alcohol for us.
Okay.
And so we, it's really smooth, really nice, and great way to start a gin. And so we don't have to cut too many heads, luckily. So we do a nice small cut at the start, and then we collect for a good while, and we make quite an early cut at the tails, because that's where you start getting the woody flavors coming through, and the more richer, spicier notes and things like that start coming through right at the end. So for this gin, we wanted it to be more in that lighter floral notes, the juniper, all that at the start, rather than anything at the end.
Yeah, nice. So what sort of percentage overall?
I think we end up, do you mean like what percentage is it coming out at, or what percentage do we take?
No, what percentage do you take and bottle?
We bottle about 80% of what we put in, in terms of raw alcohol content going in. 80% comes out to us. So it's a 20% loss, but it's a 20% loss that we're willing to make it a good product.
Do you really distill that?
Not currently. We're looking to in the future, but at the moment we just don't have the resource to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know there's a few other distilleries that will take it back through and redistill it, back down to base. I think would that be right, Conrad? You can tell.
So you'd have to. That's the hard thing, is that once those flavors are in it, you can let it run out and you can collect that raw spirit, but then you've got to strip it multiple times to get rid of those flavors again, because they're going to keep coming out with the alcohol. And so it's quite a difficult process to actually strip it back down to where you want it. Otherwise, you end up putting in a spirit that has those woody notes that you didn't want in the first place. Yeah.
Will you develop something though with those woody notes? I kind of heard a little hint in your voice as you were saying it.
There is in our next gin that's coming soon. We'll probably be launching that probably about halfway through next year. Will be a more spicy peppery note. So it's going to be kawaka and pink peppercorn.
Yum.
So for those more in the adventurous market of gin.
Lovely.
Less for the novice, more for the advanced areas.
Or those of us like me who like a really big flavored gin.
Definitely.
Okay, so here's somebody saying, I think when I try this again, I might try with elderflower tonic. Have you done that, Conrad?
Right here.
And there he has one.
Yeah, elderflower tonic's great. It's definitely lovely. I mean, we don't like to say pair it with it, because then you don't get the elderflower from the gin, you're getting the elderflower from the tonic. But if you love that flavor, then it just intensifies it more than anything.
Yeah.
So it's a great one if you enjoy it.
I did sample it with elderflower before I decided what mixes would go in the box. And I I always have to do a balancing act with all the gins that are in the box anyway. But I also thought that it did really intensify the elderflower, and I was like, the piece that I was really enjoying was the honey. So I was like, I don't want to lose the honey.
Yeah, it's definitely it's great if you love that floral note in a gin. Then by all means, elderflower tonic is awesome for it. It just really intensifies it. But if you're not into that, then you want to move to something a bit lighter.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now here's a food pairing from one of the members. Interesting. I am snacking on guacamole and tostados, which sounds delicious, by the way. And gin is definitely bringing out the lemon juice that was put in the guacamole. Love it.
Yeah.
I wish I was snacking on guacamole and tostados.
It's definitely a good amount of citrus in there, but we like to keep it as it's more of a balancing act. It's a balancing note. Yeah.
And that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because what happens when you guys selected, we want to do some Manuka honey, we want to do some elderflower, and then do you have to fill in the rest of the flavor profile to balance it all out?
Yeah, definitely. If you just distill those things, then you would get a really unusual experience, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to try it. But it just, when you have to take notes on all those different flavor profiles that go across your tongue and pick and choose where you want it to be more and less intense, but you can't just cut it out fully. So we use, what do we use? 1, 2, 9 different botanicals, and then the Manuka honey.
Okay, so now we need to guess the other ones. I think that there's a little bit of coriander in here myself. Is there?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, good. I'm so pleased that Fraser can't be here this evening. Sorry, Fraser, if you're listening, but he always wins on these competitions, so it's very miserable for me.
All you tonight.
Well, Russell's going to give it a good show, I'm sure. Now, Cordula is asking...
You know my palate's not that sophisticated, Sarah.
Well, the rest of the members certainly will add to it. So Cordula's saying, as I said earlier, honey and elderberry or elderflower was quite familiar to me. What prompted it for you, that flavour combination?
That's an interesting one. Actually, I think what it was creating cocktails and using elderflower liqueur. I just love that note, and it's such a really beautiful flavor, and it's got that sweetness, it's got that floral, and I think that's just such a light flavor that I think I just decided to go with it. I think it was just a combination of life experience that prompted that more than anything else.
I mean, it really is a very versatile flavor, isn't it, elderflower? It's quite forgiving as well, I think.
Definitely.
In a lot of ways. Actually, little plug. I have searched high and low for elderflower liqueur. So Conrad, take up this challenge. We need an elderflower liqueur in New Zealand. There isn't such a thing. So we've managed to secure some Italian liqueur, elderflower liqueur. So it will be up on the website next week if anyone is keen on adding a little drop of elderflower to their gin.
I believe Cardrona Distillery does elderflower liqueur.
Do they?
Yeah, they used to, at least.
I honestly, I lose sight of what they're doing and what they're not doing because they drop their things and then they start a new one, and it's very hard to keep up. And I don't think they've got elderflower at the moment, but I will check back on that. Thank you for that. Okay, so somebody's asking, more pink peppercorns, are they like Sichuan peppercorns? I think, is that Dot asking that? Might be Dot. Pink peppercorns are a little bit like Sichuan peppercorns, Dot, not in the flavor profile, but they certainly are from the point of view that they're not actually a peppercorn. They're another part of the plant. Am I right, Conrad?
You are correct. Yeah, they're interesting. They're not as intense or nowhere near as intense or anything like that, like a black pepper is. It's nothing like that. It's spicy, but it's kind of its own way. It's a bit hard to explain without tasting it, I guess.
Yeah. And I think it was somebody that was telling us pink peppercorns are actually a member of the cashew nut family. So I thought that was really interesting. And if you imagine, that creaminess that you get from cashew nut, there's also a little bit of that with the pink peppercorns, I think. So yes, the Sichuan that you've got in your kit at the moment for your botanicals this month, don't add it to this one. I think it would ruin this one. It would overpower it. But
not right for this gin.
Yeah, not right for this gin. This is a beautiful, beautiful, soft, smooth, lovely. In fact, I told Conrad when I first sampled it, I said, you make it into my Hall of Fame, which is that every home should have one gin. This gin for me is one of those. I don't know whether everybody else is thinking that, but that's what it is for me. It's like one of those gins that if you had somebody who was perhaps new to gin, this would be the kind of gin that you would serve them, right? Nothing that's too out there or crazy or anything like that. You want something that is really palatable to most people. And I certainly think that this is a real winner in that domain. So, yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that's exactly what we were going for. You know, we wanted it to be for everyone, so that everyone would be, you know, able to get that footstep into gin, but still be unique and not just like another London Dry.
Yeah. And that's what I think the beauty of adding the honey and the magic of adding the honey is that it hasn't gone really dry, like a real traditional London Dry. Can you tell that I'm biased and I'm not a big fan of traditional London Dries? I think they just taste like stainless steel myself, but that's so Anne's asking, have you got Manuka the plant in the gin? I think I'm getting that coming through. Oh,
we do.
and is that with the soda? Because I think you tried it with soda as well, or whether it's with the tonic. I'd be really interested to hear. She says it might just be the Manuka honey, but it tastes strong.
No, definitely Manuka in there. So we use leaf and flower.
Oh, wow. Well done, Anne.
Definitely get it on the nose when you have it with soda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. And I think that's another thing that's so great, isn't it? When you mix it with the different mixes, you get a really different flavor profile. So
definitely.
I mean, I feel like I've had 3 gins tonight because I've had it straight, then I had it with tonic, and then I've had it with soda. And it's a real decision as to which one I prefer.
Yeah, we definitely think it's just beautiful and versatile is what we're going for.
Cordula says it leaves a really lovely honey aftertaste. I feel like Winnie the Pooh. Oh, Winnie the Pooh is my favorite all-time character. So that's a good thing to feel like Winnie the Pooh. Man, definitely. Oh man. That's very cool. Very cool. And did you try any other honeys, Conrad, or was it definitely it had to be Manuka?
Straight to Manuka. We wanted it to be with the native botanicals. So when we were adding, we wanted a native botanical, and obviously we wanted it to be sweet. So honey, Manuka, it was pretty much a no-brainer. So yeah, we didn't really try. Yeah, we didn't try it with anything else.
But as you say, the Manuka honey is always it's got such a recognizable flavor profile now as well in New Zealand, and even overseas as well. So when you get to exporting, it'll be great, right?
Exactly. And I think the thing is that Manuka honey has this note that's not so sweet. It's not like, you can get some bush honeys that are just really sweet. It's like sugar, and that's not what we were going for. It was more just for that smoothness more than anything.
And because the Manuka does have that herbaceous quality as well, but it's still got, like, for me, Manuka has a little bit of a malt come through as well, which other honeys don't have. It's just, like you say, quite sickly sweet. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's obviously, it balances so nicely with the elderflower, doesn't it? Okay, anyone else pick any of the other 9 botanicals? So we've got 9 in there. So I think so far, let me just do a tally for you. So far, we know we've got juniper, we know we've got coriander, and we know we've got some lime. We've got some elderflower and some Manuka honey. So anyone else got any suggestions on what else could be in there? What else are you tasting, people? This is really a test for your palate. Which, for those of you who are new, here we go. Cordula says, I reckon there's some Angelica.
Not quite. Close.
Oh, close. Close. If it's close, then is it orris root?
It is orris, yeah. Yeah, so we use orris as our binding rather than Angelica.
Tell us a little bit more about that, Conrad, the binding.
Yeah, so that's something I never knew about until I started this. But basically, orris and Angelica, when they distill, they release a chemical that basically what it does is it holds in all of the other flavor chemicals and just holds them all together so they stay in your gin. Whereas if you don't have something like that, you often lose a lot of those notes that you want in your gin. They just disappear and they break up into not as nice flavors, really.
Wow.
A lot of chemistry.
Yeah, you've just totally given us a chemistry lesson. And so is it down to the quantity of orris root that you put in?
It's quantity of orris is not as severe. There's some ratios that you can basically, I mean, it's not a straight science. It's a very biased, it's an art. You can pick and choose where you look for your information, but there's certain ratios that you look for when you're putting in something like a binding agent.
Wow. And then does that have a flavor that goes with it?
Orris has a very light woody flavor. It's not that heavy at all. It's very, very mellow. So it doesn't really take up much of the flavor profile, but it's more about holding in those other flavors. So without it, the gin tastes completely different. But it's not so much that it itself is bringing the flavor.
Huh. So interesting. Okay, somebody's asking, is there licorice in there? That would be licorice root, not licorice the lolly, I'm presuming. Yeah.
No, not this one.
No. So maybe what you're tasting, whoever that is, it might be that you're tasting that honey coming through, which is giving you the sweetness, which makes it feel like it's licorice. Yep. Anyone else? Anyone else got any ideas on what else could be in here? We might crack this recipe yet. We're doing all right so far.
We've only got 3 left.
3 left, and they'll be the hard ones probably, everyone. They're the hard ones because they're the ones that'll be really hard to discern with your palate.
Actually,
here we go.
2 left, I think, because you got lemon myrtle already, because I told you that.
Oh, yeah, you told us that one. Cardamom?
No cardamom in this one. But potentially in our next one, because that's more of that spicier note that we didn't want in this. Yeah.
And I imagine that would go really nicely with those Manuka woody notes, the cardamom. I'm a huge fan of cardamom. I do love cardamom. Oh, wow. Okay, so I should have kept it straight. Now I've had it with soda. I don't know that I'm going to get the last one. Oh, hang on. Okay, give us a hint. Is it that it's a little bit more of a floral quality? Is it that it's more of a essential kind of a ingredient? Or is it that it's adding more to the flavor profile? Help us just refine it down.
The last 2. So one of them is a more floral note that's purely there to help out the elderflower and lift it up a little bit more.
Okay.
And the other one is it's more of a classic gin additive, especially in New Zealand. And it's there to boost the sweetness.
Okay, everyone. They were 2 really good clues for you. They were super good. Come on, what have you got for us? This is really testing your palate tonight. You didn't know it was quiz night, did you? But it is. Let's see what's coming through. Okay, just repeat those clues for everyone, Conrad.
Right. So it's one's a light floral that we add that boosts the elderflower, and the other's a more classic botanical that we add that helps with the sweetness.
Okay, what have you got, everyone? I've got my thoughts, but I'm not going to blurt my ones out. Oh, okay. Somebody's saying yuzu oil.
No, not quite.
But good thinking, because you know that Conrad's right into the oils. Yep. Okay. Cordial is asking rose or hibiscus?
No, not rose or hibiscus. Close though.
Oh, close. Oh, well, somebody else concurs with you. Rose. And then somebody else is saying rose water.
No,
Is
no
it
rose
the
water.
rose thing? Rose
Is similar. It's yeah, close.
Oh, here we go. Cassia bark.
No, that's definitely more in the spicy notes there.
Spicy range. Okay. Anyone else got any thoughts on the floral? We've gone down the rose path. It's a rabbit hole. You're in the wrong area. You're not hot, you're cold with rose. Black currant?
No, not quite. But I can see that being quite nice actually. I'll keep that one in my back pocket.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking good idea. Definitely.
Might have a play around with that later.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. Calendula.
Oh no, not calendula.
That was a good idea. Oh, here we go. I think we're getting closer. Lavender.
Lavender.
Yeah, we have a very small amount of lavender.
Sorry, I talked over the top of you then. What did you say, Conrad?
I was just saying that we do. We add a very small amount of lavender that just helps with those boosting of those floral notes. So lavender can be quite an overpowering one in gin, and it can come out quite soapy if you're not careful.
Yeah.
But it does actually just help boost that flavor of floral.
Okay, so who, for all of you now who have still got some gin left to sip and is taking a sip of it, can now taste lavender? Because I bet you now that it's been named, you'll get the hint of it, which I think is, I love how that now informs your palate. Okay, somebody else is saying, is it borage flower that's in there?
I haven't heard of borage flower actually before.
Oh, Justine told us about that a few weeks ago. She goes up into the hills in Kaikoura and picks borage flower, which apparently is not recommended because it's quite a spiky plant. So not that fun. Yeah, not that fun. All right, so we've definitely got orris root in there. We've got juniper in there. What other base sort of ones do you know that are traditionally in gin that could be in here? And we've had coriander as well, which is traditionally a base in here.
When we say traditionally, it's more common in New Zealand than it is anywhere else. It's not so much a London dry ingredient. It's not. So don't be thinking of any of those. It's not there.
Thyme flowers?
Not quite.
Getting closer. Maybe. What does everyone think? I just want to add my things in, but I know it's not for me. This is not my competition, is it, Russell?
No, okay. Sarah.
Cordial is saying kawa kawa or horopito.
Not in this one, but that next gin is definitely going to be there.
Oh, I don't know about this one. Rosemary? I think that'd be a bit strong, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would definitely come through, I think. That's gonna be an interesting one to go with. Okay,
my money's on this one. Gorse flower.
Is that where you're heading? It's not actually, no.
Oh,
I like your thoughts.
That's what I was gonna say. Oh man. Okay, come on team. We can do this. We don't want to have to get Conrad to tell us the answer.
And this one's actually, I'll tell you, it's our third largest ingredient by volume that we add.
Oh, okay. So what we know from that clue is that it takes a lot to add into the flavor. So they need a lot of it to distill. Okay, somebody here is not very patient. Give up. Tell us, Conrad. We are getting to the top of the hour, people. Let's just get Conrad to tell us, shall we?
Otherwise, yeah, so our last one is rose hips.
Rose hips. Oh. I wondered that when people were getting close to the rose.
Yeah. So we had a lot of rose hip, and that really helps boost because it's got like a really nice fruity flavor that kind of boosts your sweetness and boosts those kind of other notes that really come through.
That's really cool. Somebody said, oh. And we had somebody else saying kaffir lime. I think you would have tasted kaffir lime if that was coming through.
Definitely a strong one.
Quite strong, yeah. I think that's an interesting one to stack up between the two, like lime versus kaffir lime, because you clearly chose to do lime. And was that because it was just that subtlety?
Yeah, so lime's like a really great subtle citrus note that's, you put lemon in, it's like, there's lemon, it's there, it's at the forefront. The same with orange or anything, but in terms of the citrus plant, you really need that citrus to cut through some of those other flavors. So we went with lime because it's subtle, but it does that job.
Cordial says she loves rosehip.
Well, there you go.
And you were almost there with it before, I think. Everyone was going down the rose path, so they could start to get a hint of it. Yeah, definitely. Oh, wow. Wow, that has been so interesting. Well done, team. You got there apart from one. We probably would have had it let's be fair.
If you went to our website, it's all actually written up there.
And it's probably on our tasting notes, is it? Oh no, it's not on our tasting notes.
Not on the tasting notes, but it is on the website.
That would have been embarrassing. Okay, so we're getting to the top of the hour, everyone. Any last comments? I'm seeing some yummy coming through, and that is totally fantastic. So people really loving this. Let Conrad know. Remember, he is just a new distiller, and so he needs to hear your comments about how you found his gin.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and he clearly has some other ideas about some new gins on the horizon. So that's pretty exciting. So have you got some? You've got some in mind, then, Conrad? Some recipes you want to try?
Yeah, so we're definitely moving forward with our spicy gin, our kawakawa and pink peppercorn.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably do another one not too far in the future after that. But we'll see where we go from there. We don't want to do too many. We want to keep to what we know and keep it good, keep it core elements. But one of our key things is it's got to feature a New Zealand botanical at the front. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. You're getting some lovely comments coming through. Yes, great gin. Keep going. Loved it.
Thank you very much.
Cordial says, that was fantastic. Thanks, Conrad. Make sure you're back with future inventions. Absolutely.
Love to meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Dot says, I'm looking forward to the kawakawa and pink peppercorns as well. Yeah. I mean, isn't it exciting? It's super exciting when we see somebody just emerging onto the forefront with such a beautiful gin, and then you think, oh, and then he's got some more lined up. How exciting! So, somebody else is saying, look forward to seeing you growing from strength to strength. This is such a strong gin to set you on the track to success.
Oh,
well, that's high praise from our members, I tell you.
Definitely.
We'll be keeping an eye on the new gins coming out. Yes, absolutely, Anne. Yeah, so this is as I said before, I think this is every home should have one. This is the one that you rock out to your guests when they're saying, I've never tried gin before. This is one of those ones that you can say, wow, have I got a treat for you? And it will be one of those ones, as Conrad has designed it to be, that everybody loves. Everybody just loves it. So I think from what our members are saying this evening, it sounds like you've hit the mark, Conrad.
Yeah, it does. It's great. Great response. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, I'm so sorry, Russell. I've totally taken over this session. You've barely got a word in. Would you like to say something?
Sarah, I could listen to you for hours, Sarah. You know that.
Stop it. Here we go. So good, says Cordula. That is a fabulous way to end an evening, Cordula. All right, everybody. We got to the top of the hour. we will wrap it up here. And please join me in thanking Conrad from Kakapo Distillery for sharing his beautiful new gin, the Manuka honey and elderflower gin that they have created. And please make sure that obviously you can get it through the website, but we will be letting you know as soon as they officially launch. And then you can make sure that your local bar is stocking it as well, because we know that you guys go out, tell your local bars, why have you not got this gin? So this needs to be one of those ones that you tell them about, that they need to have stocked in their range. So then if you do decide to go out, or if you can go out, as we can't in Auckland, but if you do decide to go out, if you're in other parts of the country, you can definitely be sipping on this one when you decide to go out. So, oh, lovely. Look forward to seeing it available, says somebody at the bars. Yes, absolutely. Oh, and a little thanks for Sarah and Russell. Oh, thanks very much. We don't often get that. That's lovely, isn't it?
It's a hard job, this.
Yeah, it's rough. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we have another distillery whose name escapes me. Russell, do you know who it is next week? Somebody tell me who it is next week, because I can't remember. But it's next Tuesday night. We have another one from the box. And I'm going to go with, I think it's Ricardo from National Distillery doing his Meow Gin.
Correct.
So please join us for that. And again, thank you so much, Conrad, for being with us. It has been absolutely fabulous. And thank you for choosing us to be, the people that got to feature your gin first. So members, you've had the scoop. You've had the absolute scoop here this evening. And you are very lucky, because
great for an insight to our customer base.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Conrad. Good to be able to support you in your growth. Welcome to Suggestion. Yeah, well said, whoever that was.
Yeah.
Michelle said, thanks so much. Really enjoyed the hour. Love the gin and look forward to tomorrow from Conrad in the future. Yes, absolutely. And somebody else is saying, great tasting. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, really enjoyed spending an hour with you all. Thank you very much. And we will see you next week. Ka kite.
Thank you, Conrad.
See you later, guys. Thank you.